Hey everyone, this is Michelle Cordero from Athlete Remedy. I want to welcome you to today's episode. If this is your first time, thanks so much for tuning in. I'd love for you to check out the previous episodes, as I know that you will find the information useful, practical, and easy to understand, especially if you're a sports mom or sports dad. Today, I want to talk about a question that I got asked in a group, and it was about a sprained finger. So I'm going to give you a couple of tips, okay? First of all, let's start with the fact that if your son or daughter sprains their finger, okay, jams it, gets it pulled, bent back, whatever, it will most likely swell up, okay? That's typical, and fingers tend to stay swollen for a while, regardless of how serious the injury is. And the reason is that because we're standing up, right, and our hands just go to our sides, all gravity does is push that fluid down. So you're gonna have a fat finger for a while. So I want to talk about the best way to combat that, and it's not ice. And I also want to go over some kind of checkpoints to know if you should go get an x-ray. Now, first off, if the finger, let's say this, I injured my index finger, if the finger gets jammed, gets sprained, pulled back, whatever, and you immediately see bruising, so it's black and blue and really swollen, that's a good indicator that you should probably go get an x-ray. The reason the bruising happens, whether it's immediate or within a few hours of the injury, is that there could be a tear of a soft tissue, meaning tendons or ligaments, and that causes that bleeding in there. So you want to rule that out. Or there could be a fracture, which means there could be a break in the bone. Okay, so you want to check that out. Now, let's say that you do go get an x-ray and it's cleared, meaning you don't have a fracture, you don't have a tear. Now you just got a sprained finger, okay? And those can be pretty debilitating for several weeks, okay? People usually say, oh, it's just a sprained finger, but depending on which hand, if it's the dominant hand, and depending on what sport your child is doing, it can be pretty detrimental to their performance. So I want to give you some tips as to how to remedy that and help fight that swelling, because that's going to be our biggest, most annoying thing. Okay, so like I said, the swelling is going to linger on for several weeks if we just don't do anything about it, and only icing it is not going to get the job done. So here's what I recommend. First, let me mention that a lot of people typically will use a hard splint like this one to immobilize the finger that's injured, okay, to protect it, and that's fine. However, I recommend saving that only for cases that there is a tear or a fracture, okay? Because in those cases, you are going to need to have that finger immobilized, and they're not going to be able to be playing sports anyway, so that makes sense. However, if it's only a sprain and we're just dealing with, a swollen finger that has some pain, doing that and restricting that range of motion is actually going to kind of hold them from being able to get better faster, okay? Now, a way to still protect it and remedy that is by using the buddy tape method, which I'm sure that you've heard of. I'm sure you've seen this used. This is just half or quarter inch sports tape, okay? And what you do, let's say I injured my index finger, above the knuckle and below the knuckle is where we're gonna tape it to its buddy, to the other finger. And so you will do that above and below the knuckle, okay? And this method, the buddy tape method, is going to act sort of like a splint. It's going to help protect the finger from bending back again, especially when it's vulnerable and still in that range, but still allow them to play. Now that's a great method, really easy. You can get thin sports tape just like this pretty much anywhere, okay? So that's one way. But my favorite way to tape fingers, okay, again, this is in the case that it's just sprained, there's no tears, there's no fractures, we're just dealing with a swollen, fat finger, okay, that hurts, but within those limits, they can still play and practice, okay? My favorite thing to do is use this kind of tape. This is elastic tape. Specifically, the kind I like to use is called Power Flex, and it is amazing. Like, it's one of my favorite things. I use this thing for so many things. It's not even funny. I mean, I will fix and put somebody back together with this tape. What I love about it is that it's elastic, as you can see here, but it's also kind of bouncy. It's like rubbery almost, and it doesn't have any glue, so it just sticks to itself. So that makes it very versatile and very useful to use in a lot of different ways. And so what you would do is you're gonna take this, I've already pre-cut a strip, and again, pretending that my index finger is hurt, let's say that it's all swollen, what you're gonna do is you're gonna wrap the finger itself, just like this, and you're gonna create like a mini compression sleeve. I'm not really pulling on it to really, you know, go around it because you don't wanna cut off the circulation. You just simply place it, and because it's already elastic, by simply going around the finger, it's already gonna feel snug. So you want it to feel snug, but obviously you wanna check, make sure that it does not get red or purple. You don't wanna lose circulation, obviously. Make sure it's snug but comfortable. And if you have your son or daughter wear this around all day while they're in school, it's going to, like I said, act as a mini compression sleeve, and it's wonderful for getting rid of that swelling. Like I said, swelling tends to linger on fingers for several weeks if all you're doing is leaving it alone or icing it. And so this is really a way to kind of jumpstart that, sort of a hack, if you will. This is the insider secrets that you're getting here from an athletic trainer. And I use this all the time, okay? So you're gonna do that. Now, let's say now your son or daughter has this on at school all day. That's great, but let's say they have practice and they're still able to do practice. So what we wanna do is then further protect that. We're gonna cut off another strip, and we're gonna do that. We're gonna apply that same buddy tape method that I just showed you with this tape. We're gonna do it here, and we're gonna apply the same principle. Above and below the knuckle is where you're gonna tape, and you're gonna tape that to the finger next to it. That way, it's gonna protect it further, okay? And what I usually do with my kids, with my athletes, is that once that happens, I give them a roll of this to have in their bag, and I make sure to tell them to wear this during school, and essentially at all times, at least the mini compression sleeve, because it's really going to do wonders for that swelling, faster than anything else, okay? And that's it. And so now it's protected and you're ready to play, okay? So I hope you found that helpful. If you have any questions or comments, just let me know. And I'd love to hear from you. Tune in tomorrow as I do these every single day, and I will see you.